Good morning and good afternoon to each and every one of our merry Marvelites. Welcome to Marvel Movie Talk. As always, I am Christian Bladt, joined by Count Eric Conner, aka the Count, aka Count Von Count is the name of the Count from Sesame Street. Hello,
One,
sir.
two.
That's also your rabbi voice. So
It's identical. Baruch atah Adonai.
I pay so much money to see Count Von Count give like a like at a bat mitzvah.
I'm sure he's available.
Give me 2 years. I got another bar mitzvah coming, and
Oh yeah.
now
We'll work
you've
it
given
out.
me a target.
Oh, thank God.
And of course, our friend Jeff Williams Jr. right there. Hello, sir. Good to see you. And of course, Kate Von Kate is also here as well. So,
Oh, frick! I gotta change my name now.
That's
That's too good.
I was
There we
very
go.
excited. I'm
There we
glad
go.
you enjoyed it because I was proud of
I
myself.
enjoyed it immensely.
So the four of us are here today, and this is a good time to let everybody know that one of our marvelous co-hosts has so graciously given their soon expiring yet incredibly generous Let's Make a Deal Maui trip to our very own Michael Shirley due to a very sexy and exclusively conflicting Disney Plus project. As Michael said, way too cool to pass up for some dinky acting role, and they don't hate him for no reason. Have fun lassoing a new Lady of the Week for Jeff and a Mickey Rourke for yourself. He'll see you next week, Cowpoke. And Michael, of course, always wants to make sure that even when he's not with us, his presence is always felt. In any case, we've got some fun topics to talk about. So, one thing to think about is with the announcement of not the Academy Awards, who cares about that? The announcement of the Razzies, we want to focus on some of our least favorite
Voting member, by the way.
voting member of the Razzies. How did you get to
Yes.
be a voting member of the Razzies?
It's amazing what $30 gets you in this day and age.
That sounds about right.
It
Yeah,
costs
that's
$30.
It might be more. I don't know. I occasionally in the drunken haze get emails saying, "Oh, it's time to renew your membership," and and I PayPal, and then I realize, like, ah, shit, that was Mr. Skin, and then I go back on, and I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. So yeah, it's
no,
like
I
it's
mean,
a nominal fee,
I'm sure Mr. Skin is on auto renew. So I mean, I don't think you have to worry about that.
but not to my actual name. Morgan Stable signed up for that, not Eric Connor.
Well, so we're going to highlight some of our least favorite superhero portrayals. So, Jeff and Kate, you can think about those as we go along. I would like to use the word worst, but I know we live in an age where nothing is the worst anymore.
No, it's
Everything
called the
is
worst.
Well, I'm saying the worst,
Okay.
but I don't want to put the word worst in anyone else's mouth. So
Okay.
I'm going to use the word worst. So yeah, our worst. And look, I've got a couple of no brainers. They're very obvious, but they could not be overlooked. And I will tell you that Eric has one that I disagree with. So there's going to be fisticuffs in these little rectangles. But before we get to that, there's not a ton of Marvel news, but Lawrence Fishburne has shared some images from something that we've known has been coming, and it'll be on Disney Channel this summer. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which this is a very kid friendly project, obviously denoted by the fact that it's going to be on Disney Channel. But we got some character images: Lunella, Casey James Jr., Adria, and the Beyonder is just fascinating right there for me, because if it's any relation to the Secret Wars Beyonder, I'm in. But then look at Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Look at how fun that's going to be. Lawrence Fishburne is a voice on the show, and he's executive producing it. So there's a teaser video that anytime I play one of these things, I worry, and occasionally I get strikes from YouTube. So you can find it on the Marvel homepage, and I think it's not a property that I think a lot was done with for decades, and then it's sort of been reinvented in the last decade or so. And I think it could be a fun one. This seems like right now, my 4-year-old daughter's favorite show is Spidey and His Amazing Friends, not to be confused with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends from the 80s. This is a way more modern day kid friendly, but it's Spidey, it's Miles, it's Gwen, aka Ghost Spider, and Aunt May looks like she's like 20. She's very young in this, but whatever. And so I'm like, great. It's I think that we needed this when my son was even younger. We needed more of the really young Marvel content. So hopefully this will be right up her alley. And look, obviously it seems like Lawrence Fishburne takes an interest in this. It's more, we're seeing so much representation in the obviously in the films, but also in the animated world as well. So I don't know. I'm definitely, look, would I be checking it out if I didn't have a small child living in my house? I'd probably watch one. Am I going to need to, put on YouTube TV, like record every second of every episode? Yeah, most likely. But I don't know. I mean, it looks interesting, and it's really like characters that I think like Jack Kirby created like in the early 70s, and then it was kind of seen as a throwaway. But as with so many things, I mean, Ms. Marvel was kind of a throwaway. That specific, like the Carol Danvers Ms. Marvels, and they're finding ways to use these things. What do you think about that? Let me ask Count Rabbi first. I mean, it's like something
really
that I knew existed. But they didn't really. By the time I was reading comics, it was way in the back, the rearview mirror. But you have all this intellectual property. Let's try and put a spin on it. What do you think about a project like this that's clearly aimed at much younger viewers, Eric?
Yeah, the only thing I know in all of that you brought up was the Beyonder. And I really want him to look like the star of an 80s erotic thriller. Or else there's really no, which is what the Beyonder looked like in Secret Wars 2, especially.
He looked like he should have been played by Michael Pare.
Right, like it would be the Beyonder and Shannon Tweed in Origins of Sin.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I mean, this looks cute. I mean, Marvel has so much content. I mean, why not explore, kind of, pardon me, like go in the attic and see what you find there. And I bet you'll find some great characters. And, my kids are a little bit older now, so I don't see them as loving this, but I just want your children to be happy, Christian. And if this will give them happiness in a way that maybe their father cannot.
Yeah, I was literally the next thing out of my mouth was that makes one of us that want my kids to be happy. So that's great. You notice you don't hear them running around here. I don't even know where they are. I just opened the door and said, I'll see you at dinner time.
As we say in Yiddish, sei gesund, which means go and be well. So why not? It looks great.
Jeff, obviously you're not the target demo for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, but when you see the fact that there's a commitment to a project like this, what is your reaction?
Well, I mean, you're right. I am the youngest one in my household, so I don't see me really watching that.
Sure.
Unless we're talking about it, then I will watch it and DVR it like you just said. But no, like, I mean, I'm happy that they're making more superhero content that's focused for the younger audience. Obviously, all superhero content is focused for teenagers and kids, but like, is it really for like the 5 and under? So I like how they're putting a bigger focus towards that and just showcasing different characters.
Yeah. But, if you were to watch
it,
if you were to watch Spidey and His Amazing Friends, you would think Green Goblin is just somebody's annoying older brother, and occasionally he gets out of line, and then there's never even any idea that he's going to end up in jail.
Speaking of that, William Dafoe got snubbed for an Oscar. Just throwing it out there.
He did. Yeah.
No Way Home got snubbed all across the board, man.
I agree. I think that the Best Actor category should have included Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire, and then I don't even care who else from.
They all have to split one trophy.
That's fair.
Just like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man won.
Or like Muppet Man when it's 3 Muppets in a large coat. I think that's how they should have had to go to the Oscars. 1 seat.
And Kame Egan asks, do you think Marvel is oversaturating the market with content? Do you think this could cause a burnout with their fans? I think that this would not be an example of that because this is clearly going for a different audience than Moon Knight. You know, other than people doing a show like this, there's not really reason for people to watch both of these things. I think, like I said, if I didn't have kids, I would watch one because I want to see, you know, what it is that they're doing and all of that. But I think that they're very conscious of, I mean, there is not a Marvel Disney Plus show right now. Like, we will get through the first 3 months of the year without one, you know? So, and, you know, part of that could be production delays, whatever. But I think that they're doling it out at a reasonable pace. And I don't know. What do you think, Kate? Kate Von Kate, thank you for changing that. About, you know, having stuff like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur that is clearly focused on the Moon Girls in my house and many others throughout the country.
I mean, I think that's important. I mean, to not get them young, but it's it's the stories that we're watching and that we're commenting on Marvel Movie Talk every week, and you know, we're getting more adult content. Like even the DC content is skewing more mature with like Peacemaker and Suicide Squad, and it's getting very dark and it's getting very intense. And so the TV shows are trying to like can't go into that darker place because you don't know who's watching.
Yeah.
It's there's less of a control of, you know, things on Disney Plus. I feel like, you know, even, you know, you're watching some of the Star Wars content and it's a little bit muted. It's not quite as violent as, you know, the movies are. And so to have a piece of content that's made for everybody where it's like, you know, hey, how do we talk about sharing with superheroes?
Yeah.
And it's like even like I love the content where it's like even superheroes have to deal with like everyday stuff.
Right. I mean,
like and there's like a camaraderie of that. There's like I can be a superhero. Like there's a great story where a kid with autism was watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, right, which was just Guardians of the Galaxy, so I don't know why I said that. But and when Drax came on the screen and he said the metaphor line, where it's like, I don't do metaphors, I would catch them. He turned to his mom and he's just like, that's me. I don't do that either.
Right.
And so he finally saw someone that was like him being a superhero and being able to solve his own problems and not being powerless. So I think that for the 5 and under demographic, and it's like, you know, they're picking up their first comic book and they're engaging in the world in a different way with kids that are like them. So I think it's important that we give in the world where we're trying to give, you know, diversity. Age diversity is also important to remember, especially as the genre gets more and more mature, as the original fans get older and older and older.
Right. And I think because of that, it is good to sort of refresh the identifiability of the characters. Like for me, I really felt like I was disconnected with Marvel, but then Into the Spider-Verse comes along and Jake Johnson is the older, out of shape, kind of given up on life Peter Parker. And I'm like, I know that guy.
I know that guy.
Me. I still am Spider-Man. I didn't think I was anymore. Well, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but Dominicus Saxon, all I know is Moon Knight better be better than Book of Boba Fett. The finale of Book of Boba Fett, I will only say, is what the whole show should have been, but that's all right. We stay tuned for we'll be doing a Black Cast where I couldn't do a week-to-week Book of Boba Fett show, but we'll talk about the whole thing sometime either later this week or early next week. So stay tuned. In any case, and now we're just waiting until Moon Knight. We ain't got nothing. But in any case, let us know in the chat if if there's someone in your household who might be interested in Devil Dinosaur. Maybe that someone is you, regardless of what age it is. You know, I mean, it doesn't mean you can't watch it. You know. So
did you guys talk about Gaspard? But on a previous episode?
We did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the actor that is going to be in that first season of Moon Knight passed away. He was in an accident, and we talked a little bit about it. I mean, I remember that he was the young Hannibal Lecter in Hannibal Rising, but I actually forget what there were a couple of credits that we had talked about that actor. So yeah. And by the way, Daniel Drew was something I had no idea.
Thank
the
you.
Hawkeye
Thank
Assembled
you,
episode dropped today too. I had no idea, so I will. I'll look at that, and maybe we'll have some things to talk about. Just one more point from Daniel. As long as they create projects in different genres of film and TV and various mediums, I think comic book media will be okay. Yeah, I mean, look, Marvel has Western, like old style, like, Western, like characters like Two Gun Kid, and I don't know if Rawhide Rex is them or DC, but there's so much that they could do. Look, I know that Eric has been holding out for a Millie the Model series probably his entire life.
I've been holding out for Squirrel Girl, so
we were supposed to get Squirrel Girl a couple of times.
I know Squirrel Girl is in the park.
Yeah,
very upset.
Yeah.
Well, I want to start the letter writing campaign for Jordan Blum to get Turner D Century.
Is Turner D Century in that Spider-Woman comic you're holding?
This is the premiere of him. I spent my
his first appearance. All right, I'm sorry. Yeah. I gotta wait. Hold that up closer to the camera. I'm gonna take the rest of us out so everyone can.
Boom. He's a real blast from the past.
I love that. You should tweet at him that you. Oh
yeah, no. Trust me, I'm gonna reach out and be like, you have put me on. Speaking of rabbit holes, I am now fascinated and addicted by this character. I mean, he rides on a old-fashioned bicycle with a mannequin on the back. It is. There's so much wonderful strangeness, and then he's very nice to one old woman and gives her a flower, and basically says, "I'm going to get rid of all the youngins."
And by the way, Cammy Egan wants Squirrel Girl too.
I feel like you'll will that into existence.
Make it happen.
And by the way, Kate did send me a text. It is worth noting, by the way, that Andrew Garfield was nominated for an Academy Award, just not for Spider-Man.
Was it best? Did he get Best Actor, or is that Best Picture?
Yeah. Best Actor.
No, it didn't get a Best Picture.
But that's not the text I sent you, and the text I sent you is much better.
Oh yeah, now I see what it is. You know what? I'm just gonna hold it up here because it's the performance for him telling an interviewer that I did not get a call, like that he was not involved in Spider-Man. So best performance by an actor in a motion.
Oh, that is fun.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's a good reason.
But you reminded me that he did actually get. So
yeah, he did.
I hadn't had a chance to.
And if he doesn't come up in the spider thing, I'm gonna turn it off.
Yeah, apparently Turner D Century is in another room there in Eric's house. By the way, I think we all know who had the bad microphone last week because our microphones are fine this week.
Why
anyway.
you say he's not here to defend his good name or his mediocre tech?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's shift gears and talk about some fun. That we're talking about this idea of the Razzies are out, and I think that in a lot of ways they're definitely more fun than the Academy Awards. It's fun to highlight, the Giglis of the world, the movies that are just all time. And Eric, of course, being the font of discontent that he is, he wanted to focus on some bad superhero portrayals. And I think that the first one that you sent to me, it's really it's hard to disagree with. There are things I think that the first act of the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie is not terrible. I also think Jon Favreau is happy. That's in Iron Man, but as Foggy, he's actually tremendous throughout the entire movie.
Agreed.
I don't hate the movie as much as I once did, but you could tell that this was a guy who really wanted to play Batman, but there wasn't an opportunity at that point. So he's like, well, I'll settle for this.
And I'll talk like this during the movie.
Yeah. What? So Eric, this was. I don't even know that it was at the top of your list, but it's where I'm starting. So talk a little bit about why you feel that Ben Affleck has been fine in a number of movies. I don't even dislike his portrayal of the Dark Knight. But what is it about this movie that you feel?
Wait, you don't?
This is your Razzie, your super Razzie.
Yeah, and by the way, I think Ben Affleck was a Razzie regular for many years there.
Well, he was in Jersey Girl.
Geely started it.
And
Geely, Jersey Girl. Oh God, there was that other terrible one. It'll hit me later.
want
But,
a Razzie real bad.
I mean, Reindeer Games. I mean,
Reindeer Games actually he's fine.
He has a movie that is literally called Paycheck because you could tell why he did it. The
one for me, Pearl Harbor, where literally I was rooting for the Japanese. I was like, I want them to win this time because I really, if this is America, please get me my passport.
Actually, Pearl Harbor is a great example of a movie where that was pretty much right at the time where I'm like, you know what, just because a big movie comes out doesn't mean I have to see it. So I've actually never seen it because everything I heard about it, I'm like, why would I see this movie?
I saw it with a group from, I think it was right when I finished USC, and a group of us went. And the best part of the whole movie, we saw at the Vista in Los Feliz. So we all snuck in booze, and someone dropped the bottle, and we were at the back, and it rolled the entire length of the theater. and it sounded like it took 5 minutes. Probably didn't, but I mean, for all of us, and it was. I wish
in a war movie to hear it go all the way down.
Yeah.
Oh,
so Eric,
I feel like that was also the craze of World War II films.
Yeah, no, I know.
Came out,
it's
where it was like that's burnout. Where it's like, oh, we don't.
Yeah, it's one. Like you could have put the genre on pause after Saving Private Ryan. Would you say that going to the Vista? Well, yeah, that was a series, but yes, you're absolutely right. But Eric, would you say that trip to the Vista to see Pearl Harbor, do you think that was a day that'll live in infamy?
The part when FDR got out of his wheelchair, I was just like, all right, you can do whatever you want with history, but come on.
Getting out of the wheelchair, getting out of the wheelchair wasn't even so bad. But it was because he could get out of the wheelchair, but then
he could get out of the wheelchair and stand. That's actually
but that moment in the
when they chose to have him dance like Christopher Walken in the Fatboy Slim video, that's where I was just like, what are they doing? Ben
Affleck is not my weapon of choice for any war, any move. Although I have to say, old age has been good to him. It's
who to Affleck?
Affleck, Brad Pitt, and George Clooney. I think as they all kind of hit 40s and beyond, I think there's just something happened in their performances that became much more interesting. I mean, Michael Clayton, I thought was Clooney is he's done some great stuff. But that is an awesome film, awesome performance. And Ben Affleck, recently when I see him in a film now, I feel like he brings something that he didn't have before.
Ben Affleck also got a Razzie this time.
Daredevil. What'd you say, Kate?
He got a Razzie this time too. He still gets Razzies.
I think that was for the haircut. I think people just that haircut is so awful.
For people playing along at home, he got a Razzie for Last Duel.
Yeah. And I haven't seen
Last
it yet.
Duel shouldn't have many more.
Oh really? Oh, it's that bad? Now I really want to see it actually.
Yeah, now I'm kind of interested. Yeah.
But circling back to Daredevil, I think honestly, Christian, you hit it so eloquently when you said he wanted to play Batman and this was the best he could do.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, I think, right there is he plays it like Batman, and that's not Daredevil. And I also use it, honestly, in one of my writing classes when we talk about voiceover. They do the cardinal sin of voiceover, which is literally saying what we see. I had superpowers, I could do anything. And what do we see on the screen? He had powers, he could do anything. It's shut the fuck up. So yes,
I hope you say that in class as well.
I sometimes if the spirit takes me there, yes.
Yeah.
So yes, Daredevil.
Count Rabbi, you gotta follow your spirit.
Yeah.
And
I am nothing if not that.
So the point on this movie that I will disagree with you about though is you're trying to tell me that you did not enjoy Michael Clark Duncan.
No, you know what? My issue it's less to do with him, more to do with how they used Kingpin. So I will admit, I have no.
I think that the portrayal was great. It was, first of all, it's the first time we'd ever seen the Kingpin
with a cigar. I just thought that was such a waste opportunity, and I felt bad because even when I put this up, I didn't do one of him individually. It was him with Affleck.
That's all right.
Affect, as we used to call him back then. I think also too he's gone now. Michael Clark Duncan was a wonderful performer. So nothing but peace and love to him. But yeah, I just saw such a wasted opportunity to bring in Kingpin, who I always loved in the comics, and that's the introduction of him. And I was just like, they just, and that I'll throw in the writer more than him, than the actor, of course.
Right.
Well, I'd like to give Jeff and Kate a chance to weigh in. If you're not familiar with the Daredevil movie, then say so, and we can certainly move on. But what do you think, Jeff, when it comes to Affleck as Daredevil and Michael Clark Duncan as Wilson Fisk?
See, I'm very familiar, as in like I've seen scenes from it, but I've never watched it because I've heard so many bad stories about it prior to me watching it. So I was like,
that's important.
Like, I want to see it, so I watch like YouTube clips, but I've never watched the full movie.
I will say that the director's cut is actually, the movie gets to breathe a little bit more, and it's not like it's suddenly great. But the story actually, it's a little bit more, it's a little bit less abrasive, and I wouldn't say it's not worth watching, but by the time it's over, you'll probably be like, why did he tell me to even look at this? So what do you think, Kate?
I think that there are parts of it that are really, I don't know. I don't think they wanted to do Daredevil for the actual character. I think they wanted to do the blind superhero and like, oh, look how cool we are, to figure all this stuff out. Which the TV show were just like, oh, we want to do Daredevil and we want to do it right. Like it's the difference between like fans making the movie and producers making the movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, what hasn't happened yet? We've gotten the, Fantastic Four, we've gotten Batman, we've gotten Spider-Man. Like, who else do we have? Which is why I think like this level of superheroes where we're at now, it's like, even people who are like longtime fans of these comics are just like, yeah, we don't really know Peacemaker.
Yeah,
and that's what's really exciting about it. And so it's like even diehard fans, like who are like steeped in this, don't necessarily know everything. And we're getting to that point of comic books where it's like we're putting people on the screen that don't normally get the screen time.
Yeah.
But I also I don't know anyone who didn't watch Daredevil TV show who wasn't excited to see Charlie Cox in the new Spider-Man movie.
Right. Fair. Yeah.
And I do know that there were people who did not watch the TV show who were very confused at why everyone was freaking out.
Why is this guy such a big deal? Yeah.
I watched it with Happy Cappy.
Yeah.
And like there was maybe like 12 of us in the theater because it was right around Christmas. Like Charlie Cox comes on the screen and we're like, like all 11 of us are just like, and she's alone going like,
what I miss.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Who's that guy? That sounds like Happy Cappy.
She was
my wife was equally confused, by the way.
Yeah, my wife figured it out, but she was just like, oh, okay. Like I told her.
He figured it out by the brick when the brick came through.
Yeah.
But she was just like,
well, let's move to a movie that even the star has gone to great lengths to malign. This one from our friend Jeff, and it is not a Marvel film, but it is featured. The screenplay for it is featured in Daredevil. In Deadpool 2. Yeah, I think that Ryan Reynolds.
I love the acknowledgement.
Yeah, I think Ryan Reynolds is very capable. One, movie star. Two, the right kind of superhero. I don't think that this was the right movie for him, and I don't think that this was the right take on Green Lantern. Jeff, is this your choice because there's so much potential that could be done with the character, and they kind of missed all of that potential?
Pretty much. You pretty much had a spot on. Like this was something I was very excited for, a newer character, as in like you said, they've always done the Supermans, the Spider-Mans, the Batmans.
Yeah, sure.
This is something, and even now they still haven't really touched Green Lantern ever since then because of like how bad this was. And the TV show has been like talked about for years and stuff. And this just put a bad taste in my mouth, but like I know Green Lantern could be so cool. The concept is so cool, and I want to see a good rendition of it. So
yeah, and I think there is an HBO Max series that I think is what we're going to get, and I think that there's so many members of the Green Lantern Corps that I think it could be a good story. It just wasn't there. Kate, I'm going to give you a moment to think of one for yourself.
I'm sending you some pictures that I forgot to send you.
That's
Did you
quite
see the
all right
second one I sent?
because I will get to that. We'll see how much time we have because I realize that we're like halfway through the show and I'm like, we might not even get to our B topic this week.
I think we're always story here.
I think we're gonna save that for next week. Yeah, which will be good because in theory Michael will be back. But so anyway, mine is a multi-part contribution. And I'm starting with one that is not great. However, the Roger Corman Fantastic Four to date is still the best version of the Fantastic Four that we have seen on screen. And that is a hill that I have climbed many times on this show and on others. And I think there's like a movie about the making of it that it was really to just hold on to the rights. They gave Roger Corman $1 million. They didn't want to lose the rights so that they could then go on and make a subsequent Fantastic Four. Well, they made 2. And I know that Eric has a thought on that iteration, but I think that the Chris Evans, Jessica Alba version of Fantastic Four is basically comparatively, it's the Citizen Kane of superhero movies compared to the one that is unaffectionately known as Fanfortastic. I could not believe how bad this movie was. A cast that has been good in other things. I've enjoyed Miles Teller. I really liked what happened to Kate Mara in season 2 of the Kevin Spacey show, House of Cards. There's some great performance by her. And of course, Michael B. Jordan. But, this is such a bad movie. But the movie's bad. The script's bad. But I don't know of a movie with worse chemistry between any of the stars that I've paid to see.
Yeah.
In that way, to me, it's actually worse than the Roger Corman movie because of the resources available to them and how, like I was saying about Green Lantern, every resource was squandered and it is not reflected by what we got on screen. But I'm gonna throw all the Fantastic Four movies to all of you. But I know that Eric, you called out specifically. You sent me an image of
I sent you 2 different ones. Yeah.
Well, yeah. The one that I'm going to use is this one. The one that you sent later is from the wedding of Sue Storm and Reed Richards.
Yes.
I think I think that it's not great, but it is also not the worst. I don't know. I think that is a much more, even the Rise of the Silver Surfer is a much more watchable movie than what's that guy's name? Josh Trank version of the Trank dart that was in my neck while I watched the entire thing. So Eric, go through sort of the film representation of Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four.
Well, I mean, first of all, that documentary you brought up, it's called Doomed.
Yeah.
That's actually great. And
it's better. It's better than any Fantastic Four movie.
Definitely. And it's, one thing that came out of it that's kind of lovely is if that movie actually came out, it never would have had the popularity it does now. That, in fact, it became this thing that, like, you had to get a copy from a friend, like whoever's your geekiest friend, that's who you got a copy from. So in my circle of friends, I'm the guy who has a copy of it,
Yeah.
And the truth is, like, it's fine. I mean, for what they had, the money they had, but that cast at least has some charm. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. And, Chris Evans tries mightily in the version he did. Tim Story, I think, directed those. But Jessica Alba, it insults every part of my brain, her work in that. And I think a big part of it is, like, you take Jessica Alba, who, has an interesting look and persona, and they basically whitewash her. And that's the stuff that I find it also kind of creepy. Like that they get an actress and they're like, oh, no, don't worry, she's full Caucasian. And it's really kind of like unsettling that they did that. I mean, one, they didn't have to, Like,
there's
if
no
you
reason
cast
to.
Jessica Alba, just cast Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Jessica Alba has a way sometimes of making acting look very difficult in the way that Paul Newman makes acting look very effortless when, of course, we know it's not. And in that second Fantastic Four movie with the Silver Surfer, the scene at the wedding particularly insulted me on a whole other level, which was, here is Sue Storm, a character who, I love that comic as a kid.
Sure.
And Sue Storm always found cool and fascinating, can be as tough as any of them. But in that one, she's crying because her wedding was ruined. People died during that event, and she's upset about her wedding. And I was like, oh, come on, man. It just
Eric,
immediately it pulled me out of everything.
You've been involved in the planning of a wedding. Is
Yes,
it really that hard to believe? Because for me, it's not. So
if someone was murdered by the Silver Surfer at my wedding, I promise you I would lament their passing more than my own wedding and how much we spent on the chicken satay appetizer.
Yeah, but how much?
It was in the middle of the service. You could still go to the party.
Oh, sure, right.
Great point, Kay.
Oh yeah, the food's still warm.
Yeah.
But just insulting that.
Kate, what are your thoughts on the Fantastic Four films? I think that they're all bad in different ways, and the Roger Corman is the most watchable, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the Doug Jones and Lawrence Fishburne kind of tag team to do Silver Surfer. One's the body, one's the voice, and I think the Silver Surfer performance was actually really cool. Considering that the effects that were there was not as good as the ones that we have now.
Yeah.
So I think that they pulled off a character and made him kind of alive when it was very, very hard to do so. So I think there are good parts of it that kind of moved the genre forward, and because of that movie and because of that series of movies, making sure that Avengers got their team dynamic right was so much more important, because they saw how a team dynamic failed. And then even when we had the example of Avengers and they tried it again, they still failed again. Because they don't there's an aspect of that they don't understand why the team dynamic works so well. I still love Chris Evans, not just as Captain America, but as this character, because
as a Human Torch. Sure, it was a great part for him. Yeah,
it was a great part for him at the time, and it's still a good part for him, because there's still a little bit of mischief involved in him, and he got to kind of let it out. I think he was great as the Human Torch. I think he was honestly the saving grace of that first movie.
I think I don't think that's a crazy opinion there. And I think he's good in it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the scenes where he has to be the brother, I think he brought out a different performance out of Jessica Alba, and that's what a good actor does, is they bring out the best in their partner. And so in a mediocre movie, he was the only one not acting like a superhero. And I think that's what's really important in these iterations. It's, if you act like a superhero, you've lost already, which is why, even though no one likes this movie, Ghost Rider is still one of my favorites.
The
never
first
act
one,
like a superhero. Yeah,
you know who does act like a superhero? Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. Just throwing it out. When you said that, I was like, that sounds familiar, and I was like, no wonder I dislike Captain Marvel so much. All right, continue. Sorry.
No, that's it. That's it. If you act like a superhero, you lose
the whole movie.
The movie
I'm like,
loses.
why do I care? I don't know who you are.
He's good at the pose.
Do I know you? Do you work in the building?
Yeah,
exactly.
Jeff, what are your thoughts as we explore the Fantastic Four on the screen and what we've gotten so far? Have you seen those movies? Have you enjoyed them, or
so I've seen them. I enjoyed them for the time being. I think it was more towards what Kate was saying. Is for the time, it was great for what we were seeing. And I was young enough to just enjoy it for what it was. It was one of those things, more of a popcorn film for me. Looking back on it, I know there's a lot more holes than what it was when I was actually enjoying it, watching it. Because at the time I was probably, I can't remember when that one came out, but either way, I was younger. So
I think the first one might have been like 2002, give or take, somewhere in that range, though. Yeah, I
Sick.
mean, it's a little bit
So,
later, like
Right.
2000
because, yeah.
if y'all, since we're talking about it, since I brought it up, 2002, I was 9. So
Okay.
realistically, while watching those, I'm like, oh, this is all amazing to me.
Yeah, of
So
course.
like that's where I'm coming at. But like looking back on it and then like looking at what does that look like compared to the Avengers. And I know Eric is really upset by me saying that.
That you were 9 in 2002?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
right.
But other than
Somebody on the screen just turned 46 yesterday, so I try not to think about it.
I was
Well, it just-
so
Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, no, I'm just recovering from the fact that death hangs over me at every turn compared to these young folk.
Oh yeah, I mean you get used to it.
don't worry, Count
and
Rabbi, accidents happen.
Kate's contribution. Well, I mean there are a few,
One can
but
pray.
the one I'm gonna share right
I'm
now
curious.
is not an MCU character, but it is hard to argue with the Green Hornet. I mean Seth Rogen being miscast in every way.
Oh.
You also found the most amazing photo of him from the Green Hornet. Here's a shocker. I have not seen the Green Hornet
Neither
movie,
have I.
and
It's
I
so
don't.
No, I will.
Yeah. But I will say that Seth Rogen is phenomenal on Pam and Tommy Lee on Hulu right now.
Oh my
and,
God.
So good.
He's tremendous on that show.
Yeah.
I mean,
there
in
is-
general, I like him when I see him in movies. You know,
Yeah.
and that's probably part of the reason why I'm like, all right, we know that this guy smokes weed every day, and clearly decisions were made that maybe someone that is a little bit more focused on their career wouldn't make. I'm sure he got a
Right.
ton of money for that.
Oh, a ton of money.
Yeah. And by the way, Dominicus Saxon says, never saw Green Hornet, but now I feel compelled to.
Oh yeah,
You're
yeah,
welcome,
that-
everybody.
As you should.
That's
Has
like,
anyone?
like Amazon's gonna get like a spike in Green Hornet rentals, and everyone's gonna be like, "Why?"
9 people will watch it, and
Marvel
that will
movie
bring
talk.
it up 700%.
Any of you seen that movie? That's
Yeah.
the real question. So Jeff,
Yeah.
you've seen it. Oh, okay.
100%. I'm a huge Seth Rogen fan. I was down.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now,
Of
was
course.
it good? No.
No.
but like
put
it
the
was
picture
funny. Yeah, and it's Seth Rogen. It was better than Venom.
That is MCU, isn't it? Ghost
Hey.
8386.
What's
It was
that?
better
Oh.
than Venom.
The League of Extraordinary
Gentlemen.
the League
I'll
of
die on that
Extraordinary
hill.
Gentlemen. Yeah, I didn't actually.
That's
Wait, no, I think I
MCU?
did see that. I did see that. I forgot I saw
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah.
I will die on the hill that Green Hornet is better than Venom. So just throwing it out there.
I mean, you're saying either Venom? You're saying the
Yeah,
first
either,
one, even?
like,
Yeah, because yeah, I know.
I just love
And-
how I do have Marvel characters in there, and you chose the one that wasn't.
Oh, because it made me laugh just to see it. That's why I picked that.
I
you
also
know?
had a Topher Grace from.
Oh no, no,
Stranger
yeah.
Things.
I mean, we.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, we could do a whole show on Venom
left
and
us-
Venom related characters,
He left
and
that
that is one of the ones that Jeff shared. By the way, he did
Yeah.
send me the poster to the first the first Tom Hardy Venom, and we've talked a lot about
like
Venom
that.
on this show.
Oh yeah.
I mean that one to me it's like it's a solid okay, but Jeff feels very strongly, and
The second one is the second one I feel more strongly about, but like I just wanted to put Venom as a whole. Like just
Venom.
I'm just not here for Venom.
How do you feel about the Venom character? Like, have you seen like animated versions of him? I mean, have you read comics with him?
I'm excited for that. I think they wanted to be darker and like a grittier Venom, and that's why they have Tom Hardy, and like it just doesn't fit into what I see Venom as in the cartoon and the animated versions, and how I see Venom in the MCU.
Yep.
Because
And these are the images that came. I was
this
saving
is-
this, but since the topic came up,
I mean, like,
and by the way, Topher Grace, someone else who I enjoy in almost everything.
Almost
I've ever seen him
everything.
in. The thing that I know I didn't enjoy him in is what we're looking at right now.
yes,
Oh, that
you know.
fourth photo is my everything. Thank you.
I know,
for that.
right? It's fucking great.
that
It's
is
perfect.
that's
Sorry.
You should-
hilarious.
Yeah, you should put Kate's contact info in your phone as that picture.
As that picture,
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
or like Michael Shirley.
or you
We'll
know,
all take a different one.
we can you know, as we really explore this topic, I realize we could do this all day. And
Mhm.
so I think we're gonna save some of this, even
second
for next
helping?
week.
Second helping.
But speaking of being able to do this all day, both Kate and I did have something on our lists that we could share, and we'll probably need to revisit this because Michael Shirley actually is a big fan of the 1990 Captain America with
Matt Salinger.
Matt Salinger.
What was wrong with him?
What's that?
Are you kidding?
Matt
I mean-
Salinger, he fit the costume. What did you want?
I don't know.
Personality.
I mean, first of all, how about muscles? I mean, there is a line in this movie that I'll always reference. It's like at the end, he's like flying off in the Cap jet or whatever it is, and he just looks and he says, "Mr. President, thanks." And 30 years later, 30 plus years later, still something that my best friend and I will say to each other to make us laugh. Sometimes it's the right comment in a moment. Mr. President, thanks. Red Skull also not well realized in there. Not a
True.
particularly strong performance.
True.
Have you ever seen the 1990 Captain America, Jeff? Because I need to know now if you enjoy it more than Venom. Because I bet you would.
I haven't seen it. When you said Red Skull, I thought you were talking about the new, the one in the newer Captain America.
No,
No,
Red
that's
Skull.
fine. I'm okay with that.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen this one yet, so now I'm
the-
interested to check it out.
The Red Skull is from the old school of villain
Yeah.
where it's very, world domination over the top, I mean,
I will take over the world.
yeah, exactly. And that's fine.
That's me.
And so
fine.
I want to get another one in here. And it's again, I feel like I should, go out on a Marvel character. So maybe we will borrow, another one of those at a moment. But it was really hard to ignore one of the ones that Eric sent to me,
Oh God.
which I want you to talk about, Nuclear Man.
So, first of all, pop quiz. Kate seems to know who this is. Jeff, do you know who this is?
Not a
God.
clue.
So he
Not a
does. He
clue.
does look like 1987 Mel Gibson, by the way. It is not.
He does.
But he's got the hair. Yeah.
I was gonna say this looks like
You know
another
who
version
also
of Thor.
do you know who else looks like 1987 Mel Gibson? David Hasselhoff and Nick Fury, Agent of Shield.
Oh, that's on
Yes.
my list.
Yeah.
So
Ah!
that's
I
where
almost put him on-
that's
no,
where
I-
we'll bring this thing into the barn. We'll bring
Oh,
it
love
on
it.
home.
Oh, I
One
love it.
second,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry. Keep going.
No, it's fine.
I almost did that, but I realized David Hasselhoff will never give a bad performance in his entire career. So I refuse.
Kung Fury is his best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everything he does is his best.
Ha-
So Mark
anyone
Pillow.
let me just interject, and we're going to talk
Please.
about the Hoff in a moment.
Of
Anyone
course.
who's not seen David Hasselhoff's music video for "Hooked on a Feeling," as soon as this show is over,
Yeah,
please watch it.
yeah.
I'm gonna email you all a link. You'll have no excuse.
We're gonna end
But
with
talk
the-
about Nuclear Man. It's from a film franchise that went south in a hurry.
Yeah, this was a real kind of tragic sequel. So originally, by the way, Christian or Kate, did you all ever see the footage of what basically was going to be like Bizarro, who was going to be the original villain in this?
No.
I've never seen that, but
I'll
this
send
is
it to you guys. It is madness. You might have to share
So,
it next week.
Ghost references the film before this with Richard
Mm.
Pryor and
Right.
Robert Vaughn as the villain.
Well, and
But
that
this
one
is
had-
Superman. This is Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
The Four Horsemen of
Which
the
the
apocalypse.
concept of it, I mean, like they make up, the character had been around for like 50 years at this point, and they decide that he can just like fix the Great Wall of China, and I don't want to get started on Superman 4. So talk about the Nuclear Man.
So after they scrapped those plans, Nuclear Man came around. So played by Mark Pillow, who I'm sure is at the top of everyone's list. For
Wait,
any
isn't
role.
Mark Pillow the guy who's convinced that the 2020 election was stolen? Isn't that
Yes.
Mark Pillow?
Yes.
Or am I getting my people confused?
No,
You're getting your
it
Pillow
is.
guys mixed up.
Oh, sorry.
His middle name is Mai.
Okay.
So Mark My Pillow. Well, that sounds wrong. When you string it together, it's very wrong.
Don't do that.
I'm just going to sit back and let you get your way out of this. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so Mark Pillow is so terrible in this that they also gave him Gene Hackman's voice, which means he's so terrible he even makes Gene Hackman terrible just by doing the voice for the character. And he has like long nails, and he's always wearing half a shirt. He looks very oily in this.
I mean,
His
I
hair, the
didn't
hair is
complain about that
incredible.
part of the movie, but each their own. Yeah,
But
he's like made from a strand of
strand,
Superman's
yeah.
hair. Yeah, which
and they send in this. They put him in a nuke. The nuke gets set in the sun, and he gets born, including a costume, by the way, which I love.
Yeah,
The idea of
As one
anyone who's
does.
born fully dressed is okay
Yeah.
in my book. So
I was born fully dressed. What are you talking about?
How else are you born?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in full Beskar armor, but that's just me.
The hospital I was born in has since been demolished to the ground.
No, did you get the baby Yoda chainmail?
The mesh shirt? Yeah,
The mesh.
That's my my Mandalorian beachwear.
I love that so much.
Jeff, I understand you've got somewhere to be, which is basically just hashtag not here. But we're gonna wrap up in a moment. But Jeff, I want to let people know where they can keep in touch with you and continue the conversation about Green Lantern, about Venom, about water dragons. By the way, that conversation never ends.
Yes, all the things that I love, water dragons, especially. At Jeff Lowe Jr. on all your social media platforms. I appreciate it as always, and I hopefully will see you guys next week.
And a shout out to Jeff. You're in the credits for a film.
Yes. So if you guys haven't gone to see it yet, Book of Love is out on Amazon Prime. So it's the perfect rom-com for Valentine's Day. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate
that. Thank you, Jeff. And we hope we're able to see you next week. Of course,
Mazel tov, Jeff.
My son's school is closed on Valentine's Day, so I won't be doing for the teachers' conferences or I don't know. And then it's closed the following Monday for President's Day. So they're like, oh no, that's what it is. It's like, well, we're doing Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday. I'm like, no, they stopped doing that like 30 years ago.
It's not a thing.
It's supposed to just be one. I see one in the chat that I don't have the image. Cami Egan, we'll get to it the next time we do this. It's one of my favorite bad movies, but I teased it, and I feel like we have to go out talking about the man, the myth,
the eye patch,
Hoff, David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
Yes.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a much maligned show in some corners of Marvel fandom, but this, just watch the Nick Fury TV movie, which I believe was a pilot for a show that they knew not to make. It's it probably would have been in the same programming block as Frogman with some actor whose name eludes me, but I think he got into some legal trouble. I mean, other than the eye patch, I don't know that there's any part of this movie that they got right. And you can find this. Yeah, I mean, Cami Egan does have a good point on Hasselhoff, but we should never Hasselhoff. And please, everyone, check out the Hooked on a Feeling video.
Oh God, it's great.
It's so good. This is I don't know. I mean, look, in the time that they made this, I'm sure that they figured that this was a home run. I mean, I assume that this is right after, Baywatch came off its 14-year run or whatever it was. So this it was like, great, we're going to continue to bring, and then you figure you're instantly sold in international syndication throughout all of Germany for the simple reason, of course, that Germans love David Hasselhoff. I believe Eric is aware of that as well. In any case, I think that and then Kate sent another picture of the Hoff that I don't want to take the time to download, but there he is. There's so much great Hoff.
I sent you another Hoff. I'm sorry,
I sent you. Okay, so the title of that photo.
You sent me a Hoff too?
Hoff as Nick Fury in Escape from the MCU. I feel like you just Kurt Russelled it.
Yeah. Well, did you text me a Hoff picture, Eric? Is
no. If you look in the private chat, there's a link for what maybe the best scene from all of David Hasselhoff's work that I feel like needs to be shared.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think that
do it.
I know I have to.
The people want to know.
I mean, it's it's more watchable than his Nick Fury. You know, I mean, I don't disagree. And yeah, this, you know, honestly, I feel so bad for the hamburger. That's really where I come in on this.
I
you know?
don't.
His own
I mean,
daughter filmed that.
well, yeah, to try and make him realize that he had a problem. I think that you know, and apparently message was received. You know,
My
but,
son has a very similar video of me doing that, but it's just me having dinner. Completely sober.
Lewis Cox with the question: hey, does Kate have a YouTube channel? Kate, do you have a YouTube channel?
I do.
Perfect.
Where can people find it?
On YouTube. It is Kaitlin Cornell on YouTube, and on TikTok it is at Cornellable, which I actually just realized in the desire to make a joke, I took my handle off, which was not cute.
Oh yeah, well no, Kate Von Kate. Yeah, Kate Von Kate is there.
So I will put it up post haste, Lewis. Do not worry.
And my YouTube channel, since you asked, is onlyhebrews.com.
I think that's also the name of, isn't it? Also the name of your craft beer company?
Hebrew.
Only Hebrew.
And of course, as
going to
always, I
hell.
can be
Anyway.
found on at Blackcast. And Ghost references a movie that Kate also sent. We'll dive into, like, I feel like it's good
Just
that this
put up the
conversation
photo.
continues.
Put her up because we already
yeah,
talked
I
about
think-
Seth Rogen.
I know,
We
I did
talked
already talk about
Hasselhoff.
it.
Well, and also,
know.
I almost brought this into the mix again. Tank Girl came up the other week.
God.
Well,
And
that
I
is
have
one
the
of that is
soundtrack in
but-
arm's reach.
But Tank Girl is legitimately one of Michael's favorite movies.
No,
Like,
of course it
Tank
is.
Girl's awesome.
It's got a kangaroo. It was an Ice Cube plays a kangaroo guy, or Ice T plays a kangaroo
Yeah.
dude. Of course, it's Michael's favorite movie.
I mean, look,
It's
it's
perfect in every way. I
It's
don't know
no
what you're
Kangaroo
talking
Jack,
about. Love
which
that
to
song.
me is the ultimate.
It's barbed wire.
can you
Yeah.
move the text?
No, I left it there for a reason. Yeah,
Babes.
I know, barbed wire. That is a
funny.
a stellar selection. Anyway, yeah, we can seriously fill every week up until the
All
premiere of Moon
day.
Knight with this topic. I do still want to talk about the posters. We put some time and effort into that, and you don't. I mean, that's its own show because let me just say, I have photos.
I'll put it
to
on my
share.
YouTube channel. I'll just film it.
Actually, and
Yeah,
it'll give
no,
me
fine.
time to even find more, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
forgot some of the
but
ones
we
I had.
want all of you to let us know what you can obviously list a couple. You know, don't feel you have to narrow it to one. You can agree with the ones we've said, but there are so many that we've forgotten about.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we haven't even highlighted the Thor and Daredevil and the Incredible Hulk TV movie from the late 80s. You know, I mean, Ben Affleck continues
Wait,
to
what's
not be the
TV?
worst. It's kind of it's like one of these but bigger.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a way to consume content for old people.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah. Respect. In any case,
Mr. President. Thanks.
So much fun to talk about all of this,
Call back.
and like there's so many that we haven't gotten to. And Cam Egan reminded me of one that we definitely need to highlight. One of Marvel's most popular characters, and that's really the thing, is just like the blatant misfires of all these things. You know, like it shouldn't have been too hard to make a Captain America movie, except you needed to spend a little bit of money on it, and therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
That
Right.
Marvel was going through bankruptcy at that point, and Disney was not
Yeah.
interested back then.
I mean, I think yes, it's fun to talk about, and I'm bringing it back around to something more positive. Yes, it's fun to talk about all of the mistakes and horrible performances and horrible writing that people did throughout the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and even
Sure.
today. Like there are movies today where I walk out and I'm going, really? Like that was it?
Yeah.
Especially since we're flooding, like content is being flooded at us like a tsunami of superheroes, and I don't think we can forget that every single iteration of these movies that we've loved and these characters that we love, they have their good points and as well as their bad points, and the good points are what stick. to
Yeah.
bring us to the next movie and bring us to the next iteration. Like the Silver Surfer, they figured out that they could do a full CG human being, and that led to, you know, oh, we can do Venom. That wouldn't have happened without Silver Surfer.
Which I think Jeff is particularly appreciative of the fact that they
very
figured out how to do
particularly,
that.
yeah. But you know, without, you know, seeing how the disconnect of a team in Fantastic Four, we wouldn't have gotten Avengers. And then we can look at, like, you know, why did Avengers do so much better than a movie like Justice League, where it's kind of the same thing. So we can take these lessons from these movies to, like, you know, if you act like a superhero, you lose. Or, you know, if you just do it for the CG effects, you lose. Or if the writing is bad, then the acting will be bad. And it's just it's
very hard to get them all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so when it is right, it's great.
Yeah.
And I think we should remember that with these movies, that even though we're being flooded with content and we've had 20 years of MCU content, like when they nail it, it's like wrestling. It's great.
Yeah. And then when they don't, it's
Yeah. Perfect mask, perfect performance, perfect everything.
It's hard to disagree. And look, Cami Egan says, I still love the Incredible Hulk 80s movie. And then the TV series, it was not in the spirit of the Hulk, but I mean, Bill Bixby's great in it. Lou Ferrigno is also great in it. It's just not what you expect from the Hulk, but it is a great television series from that era, you know.
And he still does the voice. Lou Ferrigno still is in the MCU doing the Hulk. Like, they didn't forget about him. They know how important he is to that character. So I appreciate that.
And no one's happier to do a cameo than him.
Yes, Ivan, wrestling is great. You can shut your mouth.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, brother. I'll put these 24-inch bike around you.
That reminds me of a video I saw Hulk Hogan in, but I don't think we should talk about. But
that was a great performance, actually, for the record. And actually, to second Kate's wonderfully colloquial, lovely summary of this all.
Did I give it A+ from the teacher?
I seldom give A+, but you did okay. Don't worry, you're above GPA average.
I'll take it.
But
they call them C+ count for a reason.
I'm called that for many reasons. But Kate, even like the X-Men, the first one, which really was like kind of a mixed bag. Like even like some of the effects were undone and were not finished. But remember, this is like this beautiful moment in the middle of that movie. That sort of that idea of like from every sort of test pilot, crash comes a bit of technology you need to get past it. And the moment of Wolverine and Rogue in the train.
Yeah.
And Wolverine saying, I think like you could trust them. And then Magneto shows up and Wolverine's trying to protect her and he flings Wolverine. What makes you think I'm here for you? And then throws him. That is such a great sequence, and it's emotional. And it's everything that made me love those comics. And so you're right. It's like it takes those kind of misfires to figure out, well, what can we do? Like, how did we oversell? How did we undersell? And really, I mean, the end of it all, like, I know so many directors just talk trash about Marvel. But at the end of the day, like, I'm sorry, like, No Way Home had some of the most emotional moments. And I've seen a lot of these Oscar-nominated films this year. But, like, a lot of No Way Home, emotionally connected with everyone. And that's why that thing makes that much money. I mean, the effects, the character will get a few $100 million, but it takes more than that to get 700, 800 million at a box office. And really, that's what Marvel figured out. That's what Kevin Feige understands. Story.
Yeah, here's my hot take. You're never, ever, I could live a million years. You're never going to convince me that Licorice Pizza is better than Spider-Man No Way Home.
Agreed.
You're also not going to convince me that Licorice Pizza is particularly good, but that's besides the point now, is it? But in any case, you're making the point sort of like that first X-Men movie. Yeah, there's a lot of, you can see a lot of the seams for what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And Chris Claremont, who's been on the show, of course, is a longtime X-Men writer. He says that for him, the moment when Logan is driving Rogue, and he talks about his claws, and she says to him, does it hurt? And he says every time. He's like, somebody finally gets it. Yes, of course it hurts, but he has a healing factor, so it's fine. I mean, it's been portrayed in the comics that every time he sticks his claws out, his hands do bleed a little bit, but he has a healing factor, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I think that
but it doesn't prevent it from hurting every time it comes out. It's like just because it heals doesn't mean it doesn't fucking sting when the things come out.
It sucks to be Logan, basically.
And I agree with what Ivan's saying. People might have problems with some of the X-Men films, but the Logan and Rogue's relationship is great, and I think like making the character so much younger. It's the Kitty Pryde / Jubilee role that there usually is for Wolverine. And that is a great dynamic for the character. We see it in Logan with X-23, I think that's always important. But we're not talking about good movies. We're talking about bad movies. And we will continue this conversation.
Can I just say one quick thing? Because there was a thing in the chat of, I think Ivan asked,
I wasn't sure which one that was.
I thought that Lou Ferrigno only did it for the voice.
That
Mark Ruffalo did it.
Mark Ruffalo did the voice.
What they do now for it is it's a voice collaboration. So they basically meld the two voices together to give a fuller performance of Hulk. So you still have the Bruce Banner, but you have a more gravelly tone to it with Lou Ferrigno. So he's been involved in the creation of the Hulk since Avengers. He did a voice match in Ragnarok recently. I don't know if he did Infinity War Endgame, but I know that up until so he's been involved with the voice match.
And he has an on-screen cameo in the Ed Norton Hulk.
Yes, he does.
He's like
as a security guard.
Yeah, so that's great. Well,
sorry, I just wanted to solve the problem.
I appreciate it. We were speaking before, and we realize now that unfortunately our time is
this made me cry as a kid. This song, and he walks by himself.
Stop it!
It's I can't stay. We're gonna have to start moseying on down that road, and there's no rest for someone like me, Mr. McGee. But
this is not
you
fair.
Won't like me when I'm angry. In any case, it's like to have that. It's called The Lonely Man, the end credits theme from the Hulk. Like it's almost like even if the rest of the show hadn't been good, it's like that piece of music is so good. In any case, thanks to everybody. This was a fun one, and we appreciate it. At Cornellable, at Conner Connor, I'm at Christian DMZ. Subscribe to Blackcast YouTube page. At BLADTCAST. In a little bit less than an hour, we'll be doing our show Biden Time, talking about the very light subject of free speech and words that you can and can't say, and cancel culture. It'll be myself, Tamara, and our friend Al Greg talking about all of that. So please join us at the top of the hour here on the Blackcast YouTube page. But that's all the time we have for now. As the great Stan Lee would